Insane pulled the trigger to kill your son, masturbates to memory of you.
Victims' families endure indescribable emotional pain at the hands of cold-blooded killers. The situation becomes much more problematic when these killers exhibit minimal or no regret for their wicked deeds. The following are some tragic responses from killers to the victim's family. Michael Richard Swanson.
It's cold-blooded murder. Cold-blooded murder, young man.
This is Michael Richard Swanson, a 17-year-old boy who, in the space of an hour, murdered two innocent people at an Iowa gas station. Swanson demanded money and cigarettes from 47-year-old Vicki Bowman Hall at a petrol station in Elgano, Iowa, while armed with a revolver. Despite her consent, Swanson shot and murdered her. An hour later, in a convenience store in Humboldt, Iowa, Swanson killed Sheila Myers by performing the identical deed. Authorities apprehended him while driving a Jeep about 60 miles away from the scene of the first incident at a McDonald's in Webster City. However, investigators did not disclose how the teen obtained the 2002 Jeep, but according to Minnesota records, the vehicle belongs to Kathleen Swanson, the adolescent's mother, who had registered it. During questioning, he stated the following.
Where did you shoot? On the body? Yeah. In the face? In the face? Okay. Why the face? If I was just gonna shoot to injure her, why would I shoot her at all?
Swanson answered all of the accusations against him, including 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of burglary.
I then intentionally, deliberately, and with premeditation shot the clerk, causing her to die. I did this within specific intent to kill her.
Swanson was utterly emotionless as one of the victim's daughters took the stage to deliver a victim impact statement.
My mom was not only completely 100% innocent, but she was also a defenseless woman when you came in with that gun. You said you did it for cigarettes and money and so no one could identify you, but I think that's a lie. You did it, as you later said on, that it was so you could feel powerful.
Swanson smiled as he was handed his sentence.
Cold-blooded murder. Cold-blooded murder, young man. You are dangerous. You are unpredictable. Prison for the rest of your life.
4 years into his 2 life terms, Swanson cut the throat of another prisoner. He pleaded guilty to attempted murder and will serve an extra 25 years, along with his 2 life sentences for stabbing a fellow inmate with a knife at the Iowa Medical and Classification Center in Coralville. Swanson's reaction in court is similar to Randall Moore, who expressed no remorse for the victims' deaths in a Polk County courtroom. Randall Moore. I will tell you point blank, I have not 1 ounce of remorse for Therese Ann's death. This was the statement Randall Moore gave in court.
And I'll tell you point blank, I have not 1 ounce of remorse for Therese Ann's death.
When he was arrested for the murder of Ann Lynch Moore in November 2011. Before her death, Ann was a veteran who served 3 tours overseas. She was also a young mom raising her son Levi in the west area of Iowa. Therese Ann was no longer married to her ex-husband, Randall Moore, because he was controlling and manipulative and had anger issues. After the two got married, Randall started to separate Therese Ann from her family and friends. He wanted her to depend solely on him. Ann grew increasingly worried about his behavior, so she decided to break up with him. This, however, does nothing but heat things up with individuals like Randall. More dominating behavior was his primary strategy in his frantic attempt to win her back. In order to protect herself and her son, Levi, she decided to get a restraining order against her ex. On October 12, 2009, Therese Ann's ex-boyfriend abducted her, preventing her from celebrating her 31st birthday with her son and family that year. He kidnapped Ann from the parking lot of a shopping mall after trailing her and Levi for weeks, then took her to the apartment they used to share, before longtime neighbors heard 2 loud bangs and called 911. Officer Todd Rowland responded to the call, but unfortunately fell victim to Randall's evil plan.
You want me to tell you something?
Well, you can tell me whatever you want.
I didn't want to do any of this.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, all I wanted was my son. I just wanted to see my 7-month-old baby. That's all I cared about.
Randall called 911, explaining he had killed his wife, but didn't offer an apology for his act. After giving himself up that day, Randall Moore's arrest did not stop him from making headlines throughout his trial. While in court, he showed no emotion or sign of remorse as the jury gave their verdict. During the victim impact statements, Anne's mother had this to say.
What you did to my daughter, Treesan Marie Lynch, was evil, hateful, and despicable. You are now dead and rotting and repulsive to me.
Read the journal she wrote. She hated you.
Thank you, Judge.
She hated you. You're a loser.
Moore's response to her was shocking. The judge, in response to Randall's behavior, had this to say.
You give a new meaning to the word evil. I've never, ever seen anybody like you.
The court sentenced Randall Moore to 3 life sentences plus 25 years. Randall's behavior and reactions in court are similar to those of our next killer, Ignacious Rodriguez. Ignacious Rodriguez is the suspect in the death of his 4-month-old son in San Antonio, Texas. Apparently, the child suffered a fractured skull and severe bleeding to the brain. Authorities arrested Rodriguez in June 2017 when they found his unresponsive baby at a home in the 100 block of Menlo Boulevard on the city's southeast side. Authorities took him into custody. In court, Rodriguez stands in front of the judge, where he's now facing a capital murder charge, but reportedly, he instead pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of intentional injury to a child, causing serious bodily injury. Next, the victim's mother gives her victim's impact statement.
I hate more than anything what you did to her son, and for that I can never see myself forgiving you. You were supposed to be our protector, not the one to break her heart. As she gets older, she will start asking questions.
Then tell her the truth. Tell her the truth. Tell her the truth. Tell her how everything was supposed to be. Tell her the whole truth. Don't lie to her. Tell her the whole truth. Tell her the whole truth.
And Rodriguez yelled at her. The judge hands down his sentence.
Rodriguez, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
It is the order of the court that you be sentenced to 50 years confinement.
Escorting Rodriguez out of the courtroom, rage consumed him. He is currently serving his 50-year prison sentence. If you think Rodriguez's outburst in court was irrational, then wait till you hear about our next killers, Jeremy and Christine Moody. Jeremy and Christine Moody are all smiling in court. It's not some happy occasion like exchanging vows. These two are already married. It turns out they're also neo-Nazis, found guilty of first-degree murder, for murdering Charles Parker and his wife Gretchen. Why did they target Parker, you ask? Well, they stumbled upon his address in a sex offender registry. The Moodys were on a mission, believing it was God's plan to wipe out all sex offenders. Surveillance footage and Jeremy's body tattoos, skinhead on his neck, and white power on his head helped law enforcement arrest them. During the trial, they both had this to say.
Child molesters do not deserve to live. They got exactly what they deserve. Had to do it over again. I'd kill more.
What about what you said in court about repenting? Is that not true then?
No, it's not true. My lawyer made me say it. Do you have anything to say to the victim's family? May they die also.
And even mentioned they had plans to kill more sex offenders. They pleaded guilty to murder, kidnapping, and burglary, hoping Judge Lee Alford would give them a minimum 30-year sentence, but they never knew they would get more than they bargained for. Judge Lee Alford remained unmoved by their plea, and when it was time for his verdict, he gave them life sentences.
These two people, they had nothing, no way to defend themselves. I tell you that I believe that if these two would get out today, I would be concerned that they do exactly the same thing. But I think it is the case that justice demands a life sentence.
Before authorities could lead them out, they share a final kiss without feeling any remorse. However, do not be deceived. In court, they concealed their lack of remorse. After the judge pronounced the sentence and they stepped outside, reporters met them and bombarded them with questions, revealing their lack of remorse. When asked about that plea in court, Christine has this to say.
I think Jeremy and I would have done it again if given the opportunity. I have no regrets. Killing that pedophile was the best day of my life.
What about what you said in court about repenting? Is that not true then?
No, it's not true. My lawyer made me say it.
Do you have anything to say to the victim's family?
May they die also.
Jeremy and Christine Moody get a life sentence with no chance of parole. Jeremy and Christine Moody's cold and deceitful reaction in court is more like our next killer, T.J. Lane. T.J. Lane is a school shooter who opened fire on Chardon High School students in Ohio on February 27, 2012. According to police accounts, Lane entered the school, targeted the cafeteria, and opened fire, tragically claiming the lives of 3 students and inflicting severe injuries on several others. Authorities later arrested and charged Lane with 3 counts of aggravated murder, 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder, and 1 count of felonious assault. Though Lane's crimes were heinous, his reaction in court was so demeaning. He appeared in court with a white t-shirt with the word killer written across it. This act triggered outrage among the families of the victims present in court. Some of the parents gave their victims' impact statement.
Piece of shit. This bastard took the lives of 17 people. You're done. I never want to hear your name. I never want to see your face ever again. 17 medical examiners testified about what your bullets did to our children's bodies. And you sat there with the same freaking expression you have now. None. Cold, no emotion, no remorse. What type of animal are you?
While Lane was seen smiling, his response to their statements shows how emotionless and unremorseful he was. The judge has this to say before giving his final sentencing.
First, the defendant's conduct was without any provocation. Second, it was extreme. He was relentless in his shooting. He repeatedly fired his gun at these victims in sequence, moving in the position to better the aim. He inflicted extreme injury, and he kept shooting.
He received 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole.